This is the new Audi A8, and it looks a lot like the old Audi A8 really, but that's the way Audi does things. However, at the back it's got some whole new lights, look really cool, and at the front it's got the biggest Audi grille yet, and I've been racking my brains as to what it is that this grille reminds me of, and I finally came up with it. Look, there it is. It looks like a basking shark. Obviously perfect for hoovering up road plankton. Now this car starts from £69,000, but if you click up there you can go to carwow.co.uk and compare offers on the A8 or any car for that matter. This is the long wheelbase version and it's £4,000 more, seeing as it's the long wheelbase version. Let's start at the back of this car. Unsurprisingly, there's loads of room, loads and loads and loads. I can, of course, recline my seat and move it around to get even more comfortable. There we go, lovely. Now this is the three-seater, so you've got this middle bench. Let me just put this seat back and illustrate what it'd be like for someone in the middle. Because, well, look, loads of headroom here. If I was to go in the middle, it ain't so good. No, not so good, but you're not going to be carrying three people in the back of this. It's for two VIPs, in which case you may as well get the two seats in the rear, because then you get this centre console which is really sleek in between, and even more adjustments in the seat, and you can get things like a footrest which folds down out of the front passenger seat and it can massage your feet. This one though has this fold down armrest here, and looky here, look at what I've got. So I can not only control the seats, but I have this little tablet which pops out, and I can do various things with this. So I can control the seats, start the massage, choose the different functions. Ooh, let's go for revitalisation. Can do that on a cold day like today. Other things, I can set the heat temperature and stuff like that. Go all the way back. The lights, so I can control the lights, background lighting, so it's all the things like the LEDs up there, as you can see. You can change the colour of those. And I can also do the matrix lights. Now these are really cool. So up here we've got little matrix lights, and I can move the spotlight around and it actually shines a little spotlight. So if I want to read, I can have it just on the page that I'm reading. Really, really cool, useful features there for your VIP. I can also, of course, control the blinds, so I can do the sunroof if I want. I can do the side window blind, and I can do the main blind at the back. There we go. And other things that you have on here as well is I can control the TV, the radio, the media. It's awesome. And the stereo as well. I'll just turn that off. Then of course you've got your internet connectivity as well. Use the car as a hotspot, or you can do it the other way around, bounce the signal from your phone into the car. Let's put this back anyway and move on to these screens here. So same again, you've got rear infotainment system. Obviously this is an optional extra, but the thing I like about this is that it's a touchscreen. On a Mercedes S-Class you have to control it with the controller, even though it's right there in front of you. There we go. All the different things you can look at there. Under here, there's a little bit of storage with two USBs there, so you can plug in your mobile phone. I'll just put this back out the way. Another thing that we have is down here, a lot of this, you've actually got a proper 230 volt socket there, so you can charge a laptop quite quickly, and a little 12 volt socket there if you want to do it the old fashioned car way. But yeah, lovely, loads of room. And you've got decent storage here. Look, there's a little storage area here, and the side door bins are big enough to take a large bottle. But let's move into the front and see what they're like there. I'm guessing they're going to be big enough to take this large bottle. And lo and behold, looky, here they are. Other storage you've got is, yeah, under the armrest and under here as well, where there's a couple of USB ports and a SIM card there for your internet connectivity, and an all right size glove box and some cup holders there as well. Now the interior of the A8 is just exquisitely built. The quality is exemplary. I love this open poured wood. It just feels expensive, and I also like the way the switches have a metallic feel to them. Now I reckon overall the quality is better than a Mercedes S-Class. Probably doesn't look as bling, it's a little bit more austere, but I think it feels more expensive. I love these shiny materials here. I like the way you control the air vents by touch sensitive controls. I love the way, watch this, let me just turn the car off. The vents slide away and then they're going to get covered up by a panel of wood. You'll notice I've got the TV on the infotainment system here. I can turn that off as well. And when you turn the entire car off, you have like this completely clean area here. You'll notice down here though, there is an extra screen. Now Audi has done away with the swivel wheel control system and they've gone for a full touch screen. They are touch sensitive buttons, but you get a little bit of a vibration, so you know you've hit the right button and it makes a click sound. So it's better than a normal touchscreen because you've got this haptic feedback, but I still think the swivel wheel system is better. Other than that though, the infotainment system is really easy to use. If you click up there, you can see my full in-depth review of it. And down here on the separate screen, you can control things like the climate control and some of the blinds for the back windows and various other bits and pieces. And you'll notice, look, there's a little scent thing there which blows various perfumes through the cabin of the car to make it smell all nice and expensive. You've also got a digital driver's display as standard on this car, and it's the usual virtual cockpit that you get with Audi, and you can move through the menus using the controls on the steering wheel and change the view, small dials, and have big navigation there. Absolutely glorious display. It's so high def. It's lovely to look at, dead easy to use. And if you don't want to use any of the buttons, you can just use voice commands as well. This car is absolutely packed full of tech. But what happens if you want to pack it full of stuff? Well, if you're playing a game of boot capacity top trumps, the A8 would lose to the BMW 7 Series and Mercedes S-Class, but only by a few litres, so it doesn't really matter. And the shape is actually quite useful for a saloon car. You've got a big opening. There is a bit of a lip to lift stuff over, but you've got this scuff plate so you don't scuff your paintwork. Then in the boot, you've got some netted area here. There's a 12-volt socket, lots of tie-down hooks. I like the way you've got this handle there to dangle a bag off so your shopping doesn't roll about. Under here, you've got a space saver spare wheel, and the space itself is large enough for most people's needs. Now, if you click it there, you can see just how much stuff you can cram into this car's boot. So what it's like with 3 people in the back seats, and how easy it is to fit a child seat in the back of this A8.
Now then, it's time for the CarWow 5 annoying things about this car.
It appears that Audi has followed Mercedes down the route of having fake exhaust. So here's the fake exhaust outlet, and here's the real one there for the diesel engine. Because these rear infotainment screens are removable, you are absolutely positively going to have to remove them every time you leave the car, otherwise thieves will remove them for you. And there's nowhere really to leave them in the car. That won't work. The A8 gets Audi's new engine naming strategy, which is very, very confusing. So this is a 3-litre diesel. In the past it would have been called a 3.0 TDI. Now though, it's called a 50 TDI. No idea what's going on? Well, if you need it explaining to you, then you can go to carwow.co.uk, because we've actually written an entire web page trying to explain it all, because it's so bonkers. Normally this is a super quiet car, well, apart from one thing, the rearmost sunroof blind. I've heard quieter vacuum cleaners. While the front and the back of the A8 are pretty cool, from the side it just looks like a big slab of car, and nowhere near as special as it actually feels on the inside.
Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5.
You can get the new Audi A8 with remote control parking, where you actually control it into a space using your mobile phone. You can also get it with a very advanced autonomous driving function, where the car can actually drive itself at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour in stop-start traffic on the motorway. You don't ever have to put your hands on the wheel. It's only available in certain countries though. England isn't one of them. Many luxury cars have what's known as soft closed door, so all you have to do is pull the door to, and the car does the rest. There you go. What this has though is soft opening doors, so you just pull the handle slightly and it opens. Lazy. You can get the car with a special predictive suspension setup, so a camera can read the road ahead, and if it sees a bump or a pothole in the road, it can move the wheels up and down independently. It's a bit like a waiter carrying a tray of drinks, and if they're to go into a hole, they'll keep the drinks level. It's as if they never moved, so no spillages. You can change the colour of all the different LED lights in this car, and there's loads of them, so you can start off with normal plain old white, go to red, move through from orange to yellow, then head into the green sections, of which there are various tones, then into the blues, and then finally, if you're feeling in the mood, why not some purple for a bit of a vampire effect. If you get the A8 with dynamic rear steering, you can make it as manoeuvrable as a little A3. This is a long wheelbase car. Yeah, look at this, the turning circle. It's not far off that. It's way more manoeuvrable than you'd ever think it would be. Brilliant. This may be a big car, but the A8 is surprisingly easy to drive in town, and yeah, That's because the visibility is really good, actually. You can see where the corners of the car, even though it's huge, and the rest of it's easy. So the steering's light, the brakes are good, the gearbox is smooth. The only thing is, when you have the gearbox in comfort mode and you floor the throttle to nip through a gap in traffic, it does take a while for it to change down and the car to take off. That is a bit annoying. What's not annoying at all, though, is how this car deals with bumps. So as standard, you get air suspension, and it just glides over speed humps. It goes over potholes really well. You just feel like you're floating about. It's glorious. Where this A8 really excels, though, is on the motorway. So at cruising speeds of around 70 miles an hour, it's very, very quiet. The engines are great as well. So this is the 3-litre V6 diesel. It's got 286 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Yeah, it's supposed to return 48 miles per gallon, though I'm actually only getting 32, which I'm not so impressed with, actually. It's just okay. You can get a 3-litre V6 petrol, which is a little bit quicker. That's got 340 horsepower, and that's so smooth. That was one of the warning bongs from the car because it recognised that I was going over the speed limit. So it's got loads of safety tech on it. It can do things like auto brake. I can put the adaptive cruise control on. It'll keep me a safe distance from the car in front using radar technology, and it'll even steer to keep me in lane, though you do have to put your hands back on the wheel. But that's a great thing to have because the car basically keeps you in lane and you can just kind of sit back and just monitor it, and it just takes so much less effort than actually trying to drive yourself. It's really, really useful. And then you can sit back and appreciate just how quiet this car is. I mean, it's super quiet at speed. It's such a lovely, relaxing thing to drive. I adore it. You know you're getting old when cars like this excite you far more than supercars. Oh God, I said it, didn't I? Now, one of the great things about the A8 compared to a BMW 7 Series or Mercedes S-Class is that as standard, you get all-wheel drive. And so if I now put the car into dynamic mode, and that'll stiffen up the suspension, add weight to the steering, make the gearbox more responsive, it means, combined with that all-wheel drive grip, this thing does actually go around corners surprisingly well. There's maybe a bit more body roll than in a BMW 7 Series, but you can forgive that because this is a slightly more comfortable car. But it just grips because it can send some power to the front wheels to scrabble you out of corners. Now, you're probably not going to drive a car like this in this kind of fashion, unless you're a getaway driver. But it goes to show you that if you need to, you can hustle this thing along. You know what? This car pretty much does it all. It's comfy, it's easy to drive, it can go around corners well, it's fast, it's reasonably economical. Yeah, I could live like this. Now, if you click up there, you can get more information at carwow.co.uk and compare offers on the Audi A8, or any new car for that matter. So then my verdict on it: should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should just go right ahead and buy the A8 if you're looking for a luxury car that's packed full of tech. This is what you want.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it. Click on our logo to subscribe to this channel, on the video window for more content, and on the deals box to go to carwow.com to see how much you can save on a new car.